All right. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to the Inner Circle Live Asian session. I'm your host for tonight's session, Benny Allen, along with my awesome partner, Mr. Ryan Carthage, who will be joining us a little bit later in this session. And we're happy and grateful for each and every one of you being here with us this evening as we take a look at the technicals and the fundamentals to see what we can take advantage of in the Forex market. So, without further ado, let's make sure we turn off all those distractions, grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage for tonight's session. And we are going to dive right in because there are some things that I definitely want to go over that are starting to line up technically. Our original plan for tonight was going to break into the Ichimoku cloud and how you can utilize that for some of your entries and things like that. But when we broke down and looked at the notes that we had created for it, it is going to be longer than an hour. So what we are going to do is we are going to use that for our Saturday session since it's a little bit longer. So make sure that you tune in this upcoming Saturday if you want to find out more about the Ichimoku cloud and how we could kind of incorporate that into the type of setups that we'd like to trade. But we didn't want to take the hour and rush through it because we know we're going to have questions and everything. So I hope that is okay for everybody to hold off until Saturday where we've got that longer session to make sure that we cover that because we want to make sure that we're pretty thorough because there's a lot of questions and a lot of intrigue about it. So with that being said, if everybody is ready to go for tonight's session, drop me a 1 and we are going to dive into these charts. Awesome. All right, so let's get to it. Let me close this out. Taking a look at trading economics quickly. All right, okay, inflation. What we're seeing in it start to tail off just a little bit, not out of the woods yet. We saw the CPI come down. Now we look at the producer prices and they fall for the first time in over 2 years. Okay, so we're starting to see what the Feds and not only the Feds, but central banks around the world, all the action that they are taking to try to curb inflation. We're looking at this US report and we're seeing that it's starting to tail off. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. We see that the Wall Street rally runs out of steam. Okay, we are not out of the woods yet, so keep that in mind. But I want to go straight to the technicals because there's a number of things that I want to look at. So I hope you guys don't mind if we just blaze right through this. The Forex factory tomorrow, right? We've got GDP data coming out for the pound. So that's going to be key. That's at 2 a.m. So you may see some movement, overnight on the pound pair. So don't be surprised if you wake up and you may have some pound movement because that's going to be pretty early in the morning, at least here in the US. So I want to take a quick look at the DXY and we see we're hovering right at, that neckline, right, that we were talking about yesterday. It's kind of stalling out at that level again. So we'll continue to watch the dollar to see how that plays out. But I am going to jump right into the text because I want to look at some setups that I want us to keep an eye on. Okay, so we are gonna hold on 1 second. Let me make sure everybody's good. All right. So the first one I want to take a look at, I want everybody to keep an eye on, is this Aussie CAD. Okay, this Aussie CAD. So if you look at it from the daily, okay, we're pretty high in this zone. Now, it may just be due for a correction, then a continuation. It's interesting going back and forth with the oil, commodity currency. The Aussie has been on a tear, but we're stalling out a little bit. And we're in that zone, and you can see things starting to line up a little bit here on the 4 hour. Okay, we've got a new AB boundary to the upside there. If you look here at the 1, okay, you can see price trying to turn over. But where I'm really focused at in the near term is on this 15-minute at this price level here. Okay, so we just recently had this breakdown of this support level, and now we're hovering right here at this 90.53 on the 15-minute chart. Okay, so we want to continue to watch this to see, are we going to form a low there and get price to push back up to either retest or break back above this level, or are we going to get a close down below this 90.53? Okay, if we do, then we may see this price continue to work its way down. Okay, so if you look from the higher time frame, we're in the zone, okay, where we could see some corrective activity. You can see here with the new AB boundary, just to review it again. And then here, we've got an AB boundary, we've got a shallow retracement, it broke it, then it turned over. So it's just a matter of it wants to continue down at this point. It's going to be interesting to see if this level holds or not, or if it eventually breaks and pushes to the downside on the Aussie CAD. So I kind of wanted to jump right into it because you never know how these prices are going to react overnight or even during the session, during the Asian session. So thought it was important for us to just jump right into things. And that's where we are. Any questions on the Aussie CAD? Nope. Pretty clear, right? We know it's been on a run, but we know even though things go on a tear, at some point they like to correct. Okay, they like to correct, so we want to watch out for that and put that one on the radar. But I definitely will wait to see what happens at this level here. Okay, what happens at this level here? All right, so we just hit 9 o'clock. We're in the new 15-minute period here, so we'll see how that holds. All right, the next one is, we talked about this one before, but continuing with this this Aussie thing, just continuing to watch this Euro Aussie pair. Okay, continue to watch this Euro Aussie pair. We started to get a little push up. Okay, nice bullish candle there on the 15-minute. We broke back above this 4-hour level. So let's continue to watch to see how that plays out. Okay, because that could be a nice move to the upside if it's ready to go. Okay, so let's continue to keep our eye on that for a potential correction back to the upside. Okay, so Aussie CAD, Euro Aussie. Okay. Also, okay, I want us to look at this pound Aussie. Okay. As you can see here on this push down, okay, we're at this B boundary. We know overall it's very choppy, but we've got the impulse leg to move down. And we broke this 170, 176 support coming right into this D extension. So if you go to your 1 hour chart, you can see you've got a new AB boundary. Okay, so it's just a matter of whether it wants to push down or break and close back above this 170, 176 monthly level there. Okay, so we've got a new AB boundary there. We always go on high alert when we see those, and we want to continue to keep an eye on that to see how that plays out. Right, same stuff over and over and over again. Okay, this one's got me paying attention to it because from your higher time frame, right, this, look, 1, 2, 3 times. Now I pushed a little lower here, okay, and it gave us the break and the close to end the day, but we know price, when it breaks the level, at some point it likes to correct itself. So this is a pretty major low here that it closed under. So let's see what happens on the pound Aussie. Any questions on that? We know what the overall swing is, right? We know that this has been moving down, okay? But it's going to do it in waves. Okay, so we're just playing off the waves. Questions? Nope. Okay. All right. So that's a couple of pairs right out the gate that we want to keep a close eye on. All right, let's see if we get any movement. The next one I want to take a quick look at is that UJ, because it was quite the adventure. We had talked about last night how it was coming into a level we might see a reaction, and that's exactly what happened. But now, look, it's picking steam right back up. So we had drew this level, we noticed this higher and said, oh, we're right here in this 118, 127 zone. We might get a reaction, right? You got to manage your trade. And that's what it did. But it just pushed it back into the zone and look at the recovery on it. Okay, so it's trying to find its way to that 382. As wild as it has gone. Okay. Did anybody play this to the upside? All right. Make any gains on that before it decided to turn over? Roll back downhill on us? No? It's Thursday. Everybody tired, ready to end the week? All right. All right. Well, maybe not. So also, since we're in the dollar pairs, I want to take a look at this dollar Swissy, right? So let's look. Okay. We got the dollar hovering at that support level again, the DXY. And we come down on the daily right into this 61.8 zone, and we're starting to stall a little bit. So what I want to, let me check something. Let's see if we've got a momentum. All right. So we got a little dip there. So maybe this is a correction, a retest of 94.96, but don't know if it's ready to pick up and continue long just yet. Not sure, but it might. But the bottom line is we're getting a push out of this zone, okay, on the 15. Okay, so now you just see it in your head, right? The spatial intelligence is like, we come into this 61.8 level, back into some structure here, and we're getting a little bit of a pause, right? We're getting a little bit of a pause. So it's just a matter of, is this a point where price wants to correct? Maybe retest this, like I said, is 94.96 that it just broke. And sure, but when you come down to the lower time frames and look at the price action, you're in that 80-20 zone and it's reversing out right now. Okay. So just continue to keep an eye on that one. Right. To see if maybe it runs into that extension, you get a new fib, and then maybe look for a pullback and a correction back to the upside to see if we can eventually catch that 382. There's that 94.96 weekly level. That's just before that that 61.8 target. So we'll plug it in right around that 61.8. Just know that that zone is there. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. This one has kind of been back and forth a lot, but maybe we'll get it. But right now it's up. The dollar Swiss is up out of that zone, out of that 80-20 zone, pretty strong. Okay. Any questions on the dollar Swiss? Good. Okay. Okay. I want to go back, and I want to take a look at the Swiss yen because it could be the gift that just keeps on giving. So I spotted a setup there, right here. Okay. So we zoom out, we remember this move, right, that occurred. Okay, pulled back, came down into the zones. But now, right, catching this impulse leg on this move up, we're right in that 80-20 zone again on this Swiss yen. So another nice impulse leg, and we've got an 80-20 scenario. We've already started to turn over. This is a 1 hour level. Okay, this is 15, previous 15. So what we look for is to see, is this zone going to break, right? We've got some traffic here, but, right, hey, if the rule plays out, maybe we get that 382. So that's the Swiss yen pair for right now. If we go up to, let me take a look at the one, right? You see how it's just moving all types of crazy? Gave us that leg, and now maybe another impulse move. Maybe it's ready to come back down from your 1 hour, retest that 4 hour level, or get to that 382 on the one. Okay, so we'll see. We'll see if we put. Let's see. Okay, we're almost there. We're in the sell zone, almost to that 61.8, closing in off that 1 hour sub fib. So just continue to watch that one to see what it wants to do. See if it'll come down and break through some levels. All right, break through some levels there. Okay, so if we it's moving sideways, but overall we put that trend line right there. Okay, you got some good confluence. Here's another zone here, but we may see some downward pressure. Right, we may see it accelerate with a break below that 141.31 level. Questions? Anybody? Do you look for a zone or a trend line break? Yep, you could do that. You could do that. I like to, especially like here, if you break trend line, you're gonna get it to do both, right? And then it's a matter of, do I want to aggressively take it off of a bearish close, or do I want to let it ride down a little bit and pull back to retest that zone like so? Okay. So traders they play it different, so you kind of just have to test it out and see what you like. Right? Some traders, right? We don't like when a trade breaks and then it accelerates and that it moves and gets away from us, because now we have to wait on the pullback. Whereas some people, they like it, right? A little bit more conservative. They love to see the breaks and then the pullbacks into the zone, which means if you get a low to form and a pullback, that means you're slapping your fib on there like that. Okay. So it just depends on how aggressive you want to be with the move. Okay. Using a tighter stop, we put it right above the high prior to the trend line break if we get it. Okay. Good question. Good question. You could do sell limits. Like when we're using the higher time frame charts, a lot of times at those 80-20 zones and things like that, you can put a sell limit in there. So if you saw this AB boundary form and you say, you know what, I like 80-20s, you can have sell limits set here. That would be a sell limit. So as soon as price came into it, it would open the order. You could put a sell stop, right below your level. Okay, and then put your stop, your actual stop, to protect your backside above there. Okay, so you can put a sell stop in there, so price will stop on by and pick it up on the way down. Okay, you could do it either way when you're looking at these. Now, using limits, right? The way I do limits is that I'm very small, if I'm using limits. Okay, and then you can scale into that trade. So if you're away from your computer and that picks up, I'm not putting, whereas I may put a 0.5%, 1%, when I'm using limits, I'm usually only in at like a 1/4% or so. 1/4% or so, and then I'll try to scale into the position as it moves down, or if I get a pullback or a correction. Really good question. So we're closing past this level on this Aussie CAD, trying to. We'll see if we can get it to close out. Okay, struggled a little bit at that support level. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. In what case would you use a sell stop? When price is above where you want to get into a position. Okay. So right now, price is above where you would like to get into your position. So you put a sell stop there. Okay. You pre-program a sell stop. So when you go into your phone or your MT4 where it usually says market execution, you just tap on that, look at the drop down, and you select the sell stop and say, hey, if price breaks through these levels and I'm away, I'm going to put my stop loss in. So you're going to have 3 areas to program in your phone. You're going to have the stop loss, right? And you're going to have your sell stop, and then you're going to have your take profit. Whereas with the market execution, you usually have two positions that you need to put in there. Okay. So, or 2 orders or so. That's how you would use a sell stop. If you use a buy stop, right? If you use the buy stop, okay. If you use the buy stop, you may say like, got a wave, and now where I want to buy might be here, okay, up here. And they say, hey, if I get a trend line break, and get a trend line to break like this, and I get, if I'm looking, say I've got a key like resistance level, okay, that's happened in the past, like this. Okay. And price kind of Gartleyed on me to the downside, like so, like that. I may say now, because I got price that Gartleyed on me, right? Yeah, I just see the harmonic there, right? Price Gartleyed on me and gave me a level of resistance. I might say, hey, I know I'm within the AB boundary. When price reverses though, I wanted to break a trend line, okay? And let me change the color on this. I wanted to break this level of resistance. And if it breaks that level of resistance, then I'll put me a buy stop above that level. Okay. So if I'm away and that's where I want to enter that trade, then, okay, I'm going to let price do his thing. And then if it breaks that level and pushes long, it's going to take me into the trade. So then you have to determine where you want your stop loss to be. So maybe your stop loss is within in the zone and it's below there. So I got my stop loss in, my buy stop, and say if I want to put in a TP, right? So we got an 8-6 pullback or something like that. So, you know, your natural projection would be like your 1.18 or something like that. If you got a 61.8 pullback, then your projected TP will be up there, right? So now you've got everything set up. So you're walking away from your computer and everything is good. And if price takes off and takes your buy stop, you could be at work or wherever, and then that trade goes your way, you're good. And you got your backside protected, however you want to play that stop. Okay, working out your risk to reward or whatnot. Just kind of threw that in there below that resistance level. But if it never happens, okay, if price just continues to work its way down, then your buy stop, your trade will never activate at that point. You just have to make sure that you go in and you delete it whenever you get a chance. Okay, so that's how you can preset. Those work really well, like when you're looking at I like to use those on your higher time frames, those swings, you know. So you may have had it, say you were on your dollar Swiss here. Okay. Hey, Martha. So say on your dollar Swissy, okay, you use your bullish. Hey, I'm overall bullish on the dollar. And you like using your daily time frame from your low price. Well, if I'm using the fib and I'm long, right? I want to stay bullish on the dollar, then I'm in my zone and I like buying a dollar at a discounted price. So my trade plan may be when price pulls back and gets into this 61.8 zone, I'm going to have a buy limit here like this. Hold on one second. Okay, so you can have your buy limit here, right? So if you were watching this and you were saying, I'm bullish on the dollar Swissy, long term, I'm long. I'm just going, hey, you might have saw this when the new AV boundary formed. And you say, you know what? This is my setup here. So what you do, right? This is how you really play these long-term swings. I always put my limit orders before the zone, the level. So like this 61.8, because it is the worst. When a trade comes close to your level and it misses the limit, and you come back home and the trade is up 300 pips, right? So I always put it right before the actual level. I never put it right on it. So this would be your buy limit, okay, like this. And then, right, how I like to trade those big swings is I like to do it. My favorite levels are that 61.8 and that 786 zone, okay, because of risk to reward. So these trades like this, I'm not putting a house on these swings, okay? I'm not doing that. I am trading small, maybe 1/4% at each level. And if it swings my way, then I'll build into the position. I know we covered that a lot in this group. And then what I'm going to do is, okay, on long swings, I really like to give it room. So I like to put my stop below the A. Okay, that's my thing. All right. I know that this is going to do, price is going to do whatever it wants to do in this zone. My AB boundary is set, concrete. The only thing that floats is my C, wherever that's going to be, and my D relative to my pullback. Okay, so if, oops, get this off. Price hits this 61.8, and then it decides to start making its way. Okay, now this is a longer trade, longer swing, but this is how you build out these monster positions using your higher time frames. Okay, and you just sit in it. All right, now here's my D extension right now. So right now I'm at a 61.8 level. My projected D extension is a 1.618. Again, I'm putting that TP a little bit before, right, that actual extension. Now, if price decides to swing and go long, now look at my risk to reward. If I let this price just fall, and being that my overall bias is still long dollar against the Swiss, now my risk to reward looks like this. Oops. Okay. So here's my stop zone. Okay. And if it gets long, then there we go. That's a long-term play, right? So from a daily time frame, that's 476. My TP is over 1,300 pips. Okay, huge risk to reward. You trade small, you build into the position. Now, what you can do from here, if you get this U-turn, then guess what? You come down to your lower time frames, whether it be your 4, your 1, and if you start getting these up ABCDs, like so, okay. So say my original entry off my daily low price, okay, was here. Now, once I start getting these ABCD waves to occur, okay, boom, stick to your same rules. If you like 61/8 or deeper, you stick to that even on these fibs. And every time you get that, you add a position. Okay. And when it gets long, boom, and you get a new fib, and it comes into whatever your zone is, you add a position. Okay. So that's telling you, hey, I have a potential over 1,300 pips, right? Of buying potential to the upside there. That's how you play that. So you just spotted your potential low price on your daily. That's what we mean by that when we're talking about swing trade. I just found a potential low price on my daily, and now, right, if it reverses, I get long. Now, if price, you end at 0.25%. If price continues to move down, okay, boom, and it comes into it and it takes back 78%. I've got another buy limit here. It picks me up. This is in drawdown. That's fine. When you're swing trading, you cannot be scared of drawdown. You're in at 0.25%, 0.5%. You calculate your risk before you ever get in a trade. You already know what your risk is overall. So if I'm in at 1/4, I'm in at 1/4. If this hits my stop, I'm out of 0.5%. Okay. Now, if this drops to my 786, again, my AB boundary is concrete. The only thing that floats is my C and my D. So if it drops deeper in the zone, remember from training, energy trampolines, my fib levels, the deeper it goes into the AB boundary, the less momentum it'll have going up. So if I get price to tap to 786 level, okay, then if it U-turns, then I just adjust my stop loss to my 127. This comes down, okay, just like that. But if we swing in my AB boundary, as long as it doesn't take out the A, it has no choice but to go my way. If we swing in my AB boundary, this goes into profit. So now this trade at this level, that's over 1,100 pips. And remember, we still got this one that was in drawdown. Eventually it goes back into profit for 963 pips to the target. That's how it works. And you're compounding along the way on your lower time frames. Okay. That's how that goes. Awesome. Awesome. Appreciate it. Glad it makes some sense for you. Okay. Got a question. Can you enter multiple buy stops and sell limits? Would you ever do that? You can, right? As it traveled, right? So you can say, if you have your support, so you're looking at 1,300 pips, you can have buy stops, but what you have to do is you have to do the math on that. You have to know what your total exposure is going to be, right? In your trade plan. So if you say, and you hear Ryan talk about it all the time, if I don't want to be exposed any more than 5%, right? 10% on long swings, okay? You have to make sure that you do the math to make sure that your total exposure doesn't go over that 5 or 10% on these long swings, because you're taking small positions. So say you move up and like this is a previous level here on the daily and price breaks above that. You might say, like, even right here, you see these levels climbing? So if I come in and put these levels in right here, like so, you may say, you know what, if I get this swing and price continues long, I'm gonna put me a buy stop there. I'm gonna put me a buy stop there. If I break above this B boundary, which is a major level of resistance, I'm gonna put a buy stop there. However you want to play it for it to pick those trades up, but you have to calculate that, right? Because you have to calculate what you want your stop positions to be, because as you move up in these positions on the swing, that's a long way for that one stop, right? So you got to do your math on that. So sometimes it's easier to, when you go on your lower time frames and as price starts to swing and you get these pullbacks. So my original stop is let me see. Let me link this down. So my original stop is down here right now. Okay. So this is my original stop. So we'll link that down to the 1. Okay. Like so. So eventually, as price climbs, you want to start moving and stop up. Okay. You want to start moving that stop up. So as price takes off on you and goes, okay, you want to start moving, creeping that stop up. So now you're eventually in profit. Okay. So as you move through your trade and your position, you got a new AB boundary. Okay. And you might play this on the 4 with a longer swing. However, then you just want to move that stop up. You want to continue to adjust your stop in the profit as you continue to progress. That's why I like using waves to add to my positions, because then I can just move it and I'm moving it into profit. So if eventually everything blows up, you actually make money. Okay. But that's why, you guys are learning. Do you mean in terms of duration trade or long trade? Yep, duration. Because that's a long swing on the daily, 1,300 pips. Okay. That's a long swing. That may take a while. Okay. And you're just accumulating positions on your daily. You start get up around your daily and your weekly, even your 4-hour, right? Those positions can run, right? So if I let me see something. If I catch one. So like, for example, this trade on your 4, this trade ran. See how I came into this level here around that 61.8? That trade was, what is that, March? And right, ran to that D extension by the 17. Okay, by the 17. So if you come out to your daily and you look at a play, that's not a good one. Let me put my default template back on. Like that. Just trying to find this has been a choppy pair. But I'll go to another pair here in a minute and look at it. Your daily can run longer. I've got a sheet somewhere for like time expectancy on the chart, but I have to find that. But that's what I mean. Like this is a long swing. So while a ABCD move on your 1 hour, one of these fibs that you have running in that path, while these may be faster, right? This overall daily, because these are daily candles, that's going to take quite a while. Okay. But you're in the right direction if you get the U-turn on that. Okay? And that's just a classic swing trade where you try to develop your overall bias. You use your fundamentals. You think, hey, if you're thinking, man, over the long haul, I'm still hawkish on that dollar, this is just a correction. Okay. But we're not trying to be perfect. We just overall over the long term, we just want to have that direction right. So you just scale into your positions. Okay. So we got that. Any other questions on that? And for these, you just have to be, patient. If you're saying my trend is up on this dollar Swiss and I'm playing off my higher time frame, this zone is going to be my low price, then you're going to wait. Like this move here, okay, you don't care about that. You want this to happen. You're not looking to make a trade on this. You just want it to drop into this zone, and then you're going to get long. So you're going to take, way less trades per year overall, but you still can make a ton of money. We always say that all the time. How often you trade and how frequently you trade, there's no direct correlation to how much money you ultimately make. Okay. A lot of times you trade too much, you expose yourself to the market too much. So all right, so that's that. But this is how you can come to the lower time frames. And if it's time, right, we don't know. If it's time for that to start making that U-turn, right, then we'll look back and say, man, that was one heck of an entry, if that's the case. But you never know. Only time will tell as the chart moves from left to right, if that's going to be the case long term. But these are just your shorter term plays. Be a day trader, okay? Like shorter term moves, those are your plays. All right, good deal. Well, I want to check out another pair. I want to take a look at. I want to check out the NZD-JPY. I want to look at this one because this is starting to push up into this zone. Okay, on the 15. It's starting to move into our zone here. Okay, so we want to watch that. You can see on your 1. Okay. So we'll see if this wants to finish out at that 1.618, but it's got some stuff to break through. Let's see if we have a correction. So I would draw my trend lines on that and just continue to watch it move, right? Because we know at this point we're definitely not buying. So when I see it move along like this, I just know like, okay, the next opportunity may be for a correction at some point. So just continue to watch this NZD-JPY as it makes this move and it progresses. Any questions on that? Well, good. Okay. So I want to give everybody an opportunity with the time that we have left. Are there any pairs in particular that you want to take a look at before we end this session tonight? Euro CAD, gold, USD CAD. Okay. So let's take a look at the Euro CAD. See how that's playing out. Okay. It's kind of moving sideways. I see that on the 15. And we're at lows though. We're at the low. Sometimes it takes a while, but when you look at this on the weekly, off this leg down, I have to redo that. But look, see how we've come into this low, these weekly levels, this overall move. See how that's extended. So even if you look, take this off, everybody. Sometimes look, just look at the price action, right? Let's look at it for what it is. Take that off. Okay. Let's clear this out. Okay. Let's look at that. We're not too far. We're moving on the Euro pairs because of everything that's happened. We are moving into we're in major low territory for a lot of these pairs. So you see this here, that solid black line, that's the major. So if we come out to like a year, look at it. These are yearly candles. Look at how much that euro has dropped. So it'd be interesting to see if we get buyers taking over, the bulls taking over and pushing that price up a little bit, even if it's just for a correction and not a long-term bullish move, right? We know that CAD overall, CAD is pretty strong, right? It's taking a hit because of the oil prices dropped off, but you know, when you look at monetary policy compared to the euro, they're way ahead. So these are just some major lows, right? We have to respect that. And then when you come here and you look at the daily, you can see you're starting to get a pop off there though. There's a daily level that sneaks in there. Okay. So it's just kind of chopping around right now. That's why, if you drip your small positions in, if it comes off those lows, right, then you can continue to add to the position. So just looking here, we're still on this 4-hour, still within that 80-20 range. So if you put positions in here, the reason why we trade small too is because you don't want to tie your account up. It enables you to go on and looking for other opportunities and say, hey, if I start to gain on this, then I'll look. We break above this daily, this 132.90 level, which is that B boundary also on the 4. We break above that and retest it, maybe I can start to add to some positions to get long. But right now, if I'm in it, I've got my stop. Hey, I'm just gonna let this just do its thing. And then I'm gonna navigate through my charts to see what else is out there for me to take advantage of. Okay. So it's just moving sideways. So just continuing to wait on it, right? Because if you've got your stop in, you can sleep peacefully at night. Because before you ever took this trade, you already knew what you could lose. You always start out with what you could lose. As new traders, sometimes is always what can I win? But as a smart money manager, you want to protect your backside first. So as long as you're comfortable with that risk, just leave it be. Just leave it be. Right? See where you end up. Because I know, right? I know as long as it's in this state, I'm not going to add to the position. It's not showing me anything. So just let it bounce around and see if it starts to move top side for you. So that's where it is. All right, we caught that little fib leg coming off. It's just moving sideways though. If you take this off and undress it, it's just moving sideways. Look at the range. See in this level? Okay. Just moving sideways. Just choppy. Okay. Took the sub fib on the one. That's fine. That's fine. Just let it do its thing. All right. The key is gonna be, can I get this break above this 132.90? Yeah, it's tried it, got close again in that zone. Okay, see it? That's just a strong level. It's trying to figure itself out. Trying to figure itself out. Something to break it. Something to break it. So that's where we are on the Euro CAD. Any other questions on that? I did look at the dollar yen, but I can go back on it though. Take a look at it. Go back on it. Take a look at it. Take a look at gold. That was next up. One thing we got to get back to is taking a look at silver, right? I don't know why sometimes I just forget about stuff, but you know, here's your gold play. Right? Still, it's just moving sideways right now. Gold's just moving sideways. It's been an awesome correction, awesome 80-20. Okay. And now it's just moving sideways. That's it. Okay. Still holding in that zone, that weekly and daily zone. Hadn't broken the trend line back to the downside. So if you've been in it for a while, those are things that you have to manage. I don't want to be greedy. I've made large gains off that 80-20 swing. So maybe I'll just sit in it, and move my stop up, take some money off the table, let the rest ride to see if we can get a further upside push. Take 50% off, 75% off, leave a quarter in there and see if you can get, if you're still thinking long. Okay. If you're still thinking long, then, leave that 1/4%, move your stop up so that if it gets taken out, you're fine. All right. But you've made some money. We're getting data that shows maybe inflation is topping out a little bit. That may not be the best thing for gold, right? From the perspective of, hey, gold is a hedge against inflation. Okay. So that type of data coming out doesn't necessarily support that narrative, even though inflation still is high, right? People think that the sentiment and why the stock market did what it did a day ago or so is that hey, we might be topping out. All right. So this is interesting, but it's been quite a run for it to the upside. And that's in no man's land right now. So that's gold. Yeah, sideways for sure. Sideways for sure. So that is all I have on gold right now, and that's from a 4 hour. So that's pretty solid with that pushing sideways. That's a tight range. Just trying to make some decisions. Okay. And somebody wanted to take a look at the UCAD. Okay. Just playing around. All right, that's on the 15. Overall, right? We know we've fallen. We've been having a bearish week because of what happened with the dollar. Okay, it pushed back down to that support level. So for the week, the dollar's been bearish for the most part. We do have, right? It's hovering at 127.65. See how it's hovering around that level there? So that's on the daily. So the question becomes, I'm in the new day. I've got a low. I've got two candles to the left. I've got one candle to the right. It needs to close out, of course. Okay, what is this? Thursday. So that's Friday. So you need Monday to close. And then maybe that's an official low. Then you have a low here like this. Now, if you see that hold, then maybe we start moving up off this level. Okay. And that's just raw price action off the dollar CAD. Because if you look at this, look at it. Look at it, everybody. It's just all types of crazy. So you tend to just play the levels on it. Like so. And so then maybe we start moving up off that. If we get that swing low, because it's the swing lows that give us the support and resistance level. See here, swing high. You don't have to put smart trader, smart resistance on to see that. That's a high, right? Bang. So if we get that low, you say, okay. I look at the DXY, dollars pushing. Dollar is pushing off of that support that it keeps revisiting. And it's getting bullish again. Okay, well, I just formed this low on the daily, so maybe I get an upside push, right? Back to this high, okay, 200 pips. We don't know yet, but we see it. You see it here? You see how on this 4? So then you start to put some things together. And it's like, wow, okay, maybe it's gonna hold. I don't have a 382 yet, so maybe that's some evidence. Maybe it'll start to turn around a little bit. I'm looking at the 1 is already forming a low there. And then I come to the 15 and I'm just zooming in on it and I'm looking at that level and maybe we start to swing. Maybe we start to swing, but we'll have to see. Sometimes it's just a matter of coming to your daily time frames and looking, right, at your levels. See, look, there's my low, to the left, to the right, boom. Right. Here's my high, to the left, to the right, boom. Okay, when you're in the lower time frame, just playing in between this. Right. Here's a low, to the left, to the right, came back, took off. Right. See, to the left, to the right. Swing highs, swing lows, right? Those fractals, very powerful. Okay, so that's that on the UCAD. Any questions? Good. All right, all right. You're welcome. You're welcome. And we'll check out this dollar yen again. Let me check before that. Let me check this Aussie CAD because I want to see what this thing is doing. It's pushing. It's fighting that level. It's pushing below it now. Let's see if we get a close. You see it keeps bouncing back. It's funny there. What is it? 952. So we need this 10 o'clock candle to close on the 15. Maybe we stay below it finally, and we get going to the downside. That would be nice. That would be nice. Don't know. We'll see. Got this zone here. See how that goes. Can't make his mind up. All right. So let's go to the look at that. All right. That's what we looked at earlier. It's wow. Okay. It's wow. But it's trying to get to that 382. Looking like it's gonna do it. Looking like it's gonna do it. That was a wicked move. But it came right back. So that's the UJ. And so let's look at that. So we never quite got that 382, but we're waving. So let me look at some here. Right. So we're not quite overbought. See how that goes. See what that wants to do. But right now, on your lower time frames, it's in the right direction off of that play. Okay. Here's that UJ on the 4. Right, we were talking about that last night, that crown type action. Going over the difference between the head and shoulders and the crown, still bouncing around at that level. So we'll continue to watch it. But right now, it's like it's trying to close in on that target finally. Which would have been a lot cleaner, which could have survived that level, but it didn't. So that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. But here's the overall how we spotted it, right? So here's that down move, that fib, and that correction, and then we ran that type 2. Okay, so that pullback. So we'll keep an eye on it because we haven't gotten. So we just pull this off. It might just be dancing around right now because we technically never came into that 382, right? So this might just be retesting this level, and then maybe it'll turn back over. I don't know. We just take what we can get in the meantime off the lower time frame swings. All right. You're welcome. You're welcome. Any other pairs we want to check out?
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Sure can.
Benny, now, right there where it has the A and the B, what is that crazy thing that's going on when it does a shallow retracement and then it spikes right down?
Man.
I was drawing this up and I didn't know what the heck to do here.
Yeah, I mean, you could look back and see if something was going on. Maybe a report came up, but this is just, man, the way this market moves, right? That's why I like to key in on that 80-20 there. Like you get sometimes just chaotic moves off that 236 level. Like it's one of those things that are just, me and Ryan, we at Casey, we stare at these charts all the time, like, man, like if I could predict when price was going to respect this B boundary and push up, and when it was going to break and go push to that 80-20, I'd be a billionaire. Like that is one of the things we'll show you guys with the cloud. And how this can kind of keep you out of trouble, because you get caught up, like, man, because you'll see moves that just swing right off the B boundary, and you're like, man, that would have been nice, but I was waiting on the 80-20 and I never got it. And so you build, you know what I mean? So you build rules in your head to say, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna filter. I don't want to take any B boundary setups. If I see 80-20, that's gonna be my play. I'm going to take it every time I get it, but it would just be nice. So sometimes things like using the cloud, because what will happen is if you have a cloud, right? Sometimes you see this and this becomes enticing, but you're like, man, it didn't even break through the cloud, didn't break the cloud. And then it pushed down. And then when it gets to the zone, it pushes up and it finally breaks your cloud. See, so sometimes you can use certain things to kind of filter stuff for you, but this has always been the mystery for us, man. Like,
yeah, because I was in there trying to find where the C was, and I said, wait, this C can't be right this close to this B here, and
it can. What the levels tell you is just momentum in the market and who has control. So that's why we like to call it the 80-20, because 20% of the time, right? And we know with them yen pairs, it could be higher than that when they get ran on, right? The momentum can be so strong. So if you get a bounce off this 236 and it shoots down to that D extension, that's just telling you the bears are in control. You're getting heavy selling pressure because you didn't hardly have any pushback from the bulls. They didn't push it up to even 38%, 50%, 61.8%. So that just tells you something about momentum in a particular direction. That's what that's telling you. But you can see here is like, nope. But then it gets to this level oftentimes and it just stalls. And then you just have an all-out fight to see who's going to win it. And
right.
That's what it's just one of those things about the fibs that's just like, I'm pretty sure there's a whole bunch of theories out there, but I just know it when I see it.
Right.
Like,
I mean, that's still supposed to go down, right? I mean, the D is not done. I mean, there's no
No,
D.
there's no, like, it's just amazing to me how it could just be that impulsive and then the brakes just come on. Like this is nothing, but that's a 15-minute level, and that level didn't previously exist. I put this under here because it formed a low there. It formed a swing low.
Mm.
So there was literally nothing really, you know what I mean? So sometimes sometimes you will have levels, previous levels, weekly, daily levels that's in the zone, and you're like, okay, well, it found daily support. It found weekly support, and you have buyers there. But there's sometimes where it's almost like it's just happening in just thin air, like in no man's land. Like I'm looking left on the chart, there's nothing. But for some reason, boom, right here at this level, it'll get held up. And sometimes it'll just create a new support level, and then it'll just make its run. So it's fascinating to me, man. But like I said, if I could figure that out on point, I man, say I've been looking at that for years too. So yeah. So we got a question. So it's the 80-20 move when it doesn't hit the 236 or when it doesn't hit the 382. Anything less than the 382. Than a 382. Anything less than a 382. If it tags that 382, it's got a good chance that it can carry to that D extension off of that. Right. But for some reason, it's just a pattern in the market. You know, you get less than that 382, for some reason that market loves to come back and fulfill at least that. Right. So you're counter trend trading, right? In this time frame, because it's moving down and now I'm buying, right? But we know overall this could be eventually a long-term long. But right now, as it sits, this price is moving down, and now we're buying back to a certain level. But we knowing how that sequence works is what enables us to not be, you know, scared or fearful of trading to the counter, because we've seen it so much. Yep. So that's that. Any other questions or in general overall that anybody has before we close out tonight? Good session. Great questions, by the way, everybody. Way to lock it in. All right. Nope. We're good. All righty. You're welcome. There's no more questions. Hey, Saturday, 6:30. What'd you say?
I said I lied. There's a question.
Oh, what's up?
When it comes to determining trend lines, let's say you look at it on a monthly time frame, and it started out real high, and then it got real low, and then now it's like kind of in the middle. So how can you determine which one is the true direction, whether or not it's bullish or bearish, if the current price is somewhere in the middle?
No man's land. That goes to your fundamentals.
Okay.
You know, and overall fundamentally how you feel about that particular currency.
Okay.
You know, you still want to wait for it to come to your spots and your zones. So like I might be bullish on a pair, but it might be in no man's land. Like, you know what? It's not at my level yet. You know, I'm bullish, but I want a discounted price. So that's why we start to make rules, right? So for example, say you were right, play it traditionally like how I was trained, right? Where we look for our low prices on that daily. So if I say I am a bull, you know, on the dollar versus the yen, then right now it's kind of no man's land, it's not doing anything. But one of the things is you start to build out your filters where it's just like, that's a 382, close to a 382 anyway. So in my trade plan, my rules don't allow me to get super long. Like if I was looking to buy off this daily fib, I wouldn't buy off that 382 because my rules say I don't do that, right? So even if this thing took off to the moon, it's just like, you know what, it is what it is. Those are my rules. I don't buy off 382s, right? But if it comes into my zone, then I'll look to buy it. if I get my discounted price, I look to buy it, right? That's how you kind of alleviate a lot of that, is having your trade plan and having your rules. So if I get a lower price on that, then I'll look to buy. Like that would be sweet. This 126.36, that's a weekly support that's coming in line with that 61.8. If my rules say I only like to buy off of the higher time frames, the daily, I need a low price, I'm willing to wait on that. I'll look for something else in the meantime that may be setting up in my zone. To help
Yeah,
you out a little bit.
kind of, sort of. So I'm saying, like, recently I went into Smart Trader and all of my charts were gone. So
Oh,
I had to start all over again. But I think it was the GPD NZD. I couldn't really determine the overall direction, like from a monthly standpoint, just because I'm trying to get my overall
oh,
trend correct.
yeah,
But it's kind of
yeah.
in the middle. So I'm like, well, I don't know if this is an uptrend or if this is a downtrend. Is this a correction? I don't know where I'm at.
Oh, so okay. Yep. I used to be the
Like, I
same
just
way.
a blank chart.
Yeah. So like here. Okay. So we'll come out. If you get a choppy chart, okay, you either could come in, like how you see how this is, see how like when you're in an uptrend, it's gonna move from your bottom left to your top right. When you're in a downtrend, it's gonna move from your top left down to your bottom right. Okay. Now, when you get into this stuff here, you may have to say, hey, when in doubt, stay out. If you can't make a determination, just that quick, I'm on to the other charts.
Okay.
Right? I'm on to the other charts. So that's the first thing. But the way you play these type of levels here, right? Where you gonna get a trend line at? You're not, right? Because it's just moving across the middle of your screen, right? You may have people may use moving averages, and your moving averages will be moving straight through price, right? Doesn't do you any good because the market's not particularly trending. But what you can do is you come in because it's moving sideways in a horizontal fashion. So now what I'm doing is kind of like what was the game? What was it? Donkey Kong, like when he used to just crash down through the levels, right? Am I too old? I'm old. But so now I'm looking at it sideways and I'm looking at, is it gonna break through floors or is it gonna break through ceilings? Like you see this move here, this weekly level, this weekly move, right? That just came through. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in. If I want to play these ranges like this, then I'm just gonna go out. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna mark my levels. Okay. Clear this out. I'm gonna come through. I'm gonna mark them all up. Clear it out. Like so. Okay. I'm gonna squeeze it down. I'm gonna follow my same routine, but I'm looking at this a little bit differently because I'm not looking too trendy, right? In the near term. Okay, we know that's moving down, but in this here, this is a monthly chart. Okay, it's moving sideways a little bit. All right. So when I'm marking up this chart, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna get my levels going like so. Okay. And you can see from the monthly, I'm moving down, right? I'm having a bearish month. Okay. So I'm gonna look at this candlestick for candlestick. It's moving sideways. I'm having a bearish month. Ranging, but look, you see how small these candles were here, right? And now it's like it's pushing down. Okay, it's taking them out. So now, okay, it's gonna mark that here. And this is a monthly level, right? So like that. And now if I'm looking at this just from the monthly, it looks like, oh, my target is this 187.09 in that zone. Okay. And then I'll even put that one below that in case it wants to accelerate. So, all right. So now I've got that. So now I'm just going to go to my weekly to see if there's anything in between. And the answer right now is no. So this is where I'm headed right now. Okay. From our monthly and weekly chart perspective. So I've got a monthly candle that's down. Okay. So I'm bringing it into the candles. I got a monthly candle that's down. I got a bearish week. right? Barest if I've ever seen it. Okay. So I'm gonna put that in because that kind of gives me a zone up above like that. Okay. And these are my supports. And I'm gonna take these off. I'm gonna carry this down to my daily like that. And I'm gonna come out of here. And can you see what it's doing? Right? You see how I just broke through this level? Okay. So before, so let's put your smart support in. Boom. Put your resistance in. Bang. Okay. So now I can come in here like this. Okay. And this was that previous level like that. So I'm gonna mark that because we know it can break and retest that zone. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this lower one in like this. Okay. And leave it just like that. And now I'm gonna link that down to my 4 like this. And I'm gonna put this daily level in like so. Okay. So now I'm not focused on all of this other stuff. I'm right here. I'm right here. And what I want to see is now I'm going to circle this high. Okay. Come in here and take this high, but we're probably going to end up there. And I'm just going to link that down to the 4 because we're moving down. Okay, so now it's just a matter of catching a wave. Doesn't want to pull back before it continues to move in that direction. Okay, so now we zoom in. It might even, let me start right in from this one. Oh, okay. So trying to figure it's gonna be my best spot. We got that one circle. Boom. There on the 4. So that's exactly where I am. Okay. 4 hour. Okay. If you want to put your 4 hour levels in, you can, especially if you like to go down to those lower time frames. You can put that in if you want. Some people choose not to. That's okay. Okay. And it depends on how granular you want to get, how low you want to go on your charts. I'll put that there, like that, just for good measure. And I'm going to link that down. Okay. And do we have any 4 hour supports? Absolutely. We just came into one. Okay. So we're going to mark that like so. So that tells me price is stalling out a little bit in the zone. So tomorrow, if we look at the Forex factor, we got 2 a.m., we got GDP data. Okay. That has the potential to move this market. Which way it's going to go is depend on how that data comes out. But we know technically, we push down quite a ways. We're in the 80-20 zone. And we may get that correction depending on what that GDP data looks like. If it comes out better than expected for the pound, you may see this bad boy push right on up. Okay. Worse than expected, might just continue to motor on down. Okay. Like that. So that's where we are. So you're looking at a potential 80-20 there that's just coming into your zone. That's how you would do that. Just like that. All the way down. And you just look at prices moving sideways. I'm playing straight support and resistance, especially on these higher time frames until I can catch a wave on the lower time frame to see if I can get me a pullback. Right? If you're on your 1 and you're looking at an even smaller wave, you started here and see where it comes out. Nope, it took it out because why? It's moving sideways. That's what happens to your fibs. And now I just want to catch the next move. And you can see it's almost identical coming in to that wave. Just ahead of GDP data. So you always got to keep that in the back of your mind there. Okay. So if you were limited in, say, at a 0.25%, or you just market executed a small position in this zone, like so. Okay. It's just sitting there. Okay. And so you can do something like, well, back to my 382 is 227 pips. Do I want to do a 2-to-1? Do I want to just put it underneath there, keep it tight, right? Do I keep it tight, stop? Do I put it into a 2-to-1, 3-to-1 risk to reward? Do I put it right below my daily support, my D, right? It's a big move. That's a big move. It's the pound pair, right? It can get wide. Keep it tight. Now, if you keep it tight, you got news at 2 a.m. Even if it goes this way, it has the potential to spike down and then spike up. Okay. So even if you had a small position just sitting in there, figure out how you want to play that stop. And then if the data goes your way, cool. If it doesn't, you get stopped out, or you just say, I'll leave it alone. I got major data. I'll wait for the dust to settle to see what I want to do next. That's how I would look at that setup. Juan, Donkey Kong, I know, right? He was about that business. So that's where we are there. But thanks for calling that out, though. Well, we like that setup.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Does that help you out a little bit? I guess I should ask that first.
No, yeah, that did. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right. Hold on one second before we
Ethereum had pushed up. I think it was at the almost at the 7. Say.
Okay. Let's let's go take a look at it. Mr. Carthage, what's going on, sir? How are you?
What's the deal, bro? I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Finally wrap things up in the evening. You doing all right?
I'm doing good, man. Must be getting close to the weekend.
Yeah, that's for sure. What's up with everybody?
I can hear it in your voice. So,
yeah, man.
Oh, we're looking at this Ethereum. Look at that. All right. It's getting a strong push with the rally. Let's see what happens at this B boundary. See what happens. See if we can get there. Thanks for giving us the heads up on that. For sure. What is look at that. See, this is what I'm talking about, right? Look at the B. Look at that move. Look at the symmetry in that. Look at that ABCD wave to the D extension, a new AB boundary and a reversal. Can't make this stuff up.
My daily looks different than yours, though. My daily is showing a 786 retracement.
Oh, that's because I drew the full.
Okay.
I can take this out now. That's because I pulled the full AB boundary off the crown pattern. Yeah. So if I run it from the top, probably gonna have the same thing. Where you at? You got that what you have or no? Or you running it off the like
no,
that?
I have it. 2087 is where my FIP starts.
2087. Around here? No, that's 2167. I guess I'm in the same arena though, right? You said you got a 786.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you're just following the fibs down off that C to D leg. Yeah. Nice. So we'll see if it comes into that. That's gonna challenge that A boundary here, that B boundary. That could be a double top when it swings back to this level. That's gonna be a key level, 2160. Break above there, watch out, I guess. That's a nice correction. That's a really nice correction. My goodness. So what does that look like on a 1 with the moving the fibs the other way? I guess we mapped this out a long time ago because I still got the drawing on there. But I didn't play it, go figure. Yeah. So there we go. Nice. That's nice work. So that means that Bitcoin is moving too then, huh?
Yeah, I don't have that one mapped out.
That one mapped out. It's swinging. It is swinging. Hold on one second. Get my eyes back on these cryptos. Okay. I remember that from a long time ago. We were waiting to see which way that was going to break. Didn't get to that D extension. I love to see it test that trend line and see what happens there. It's good. So I guess as far as that price action, Ethereum seems to be leading it, right? Leading the way. On the that zone, right? 80-20, man, I tell you. So that's Bitcoin. Well, all right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. All right. I know we were right on that. We got that good evening star off that right tip of that crown some time ago. We were spot on with that one. We'll finish it. We'll see if it gets that D extension eventually. At 10,861. That'd be heartbreaking for a lot of folks. But gives a lot of opportunity to people who want to buy if it gets there eventually. All right. Well, you're welcome, man. No problem. No problem. Hey, I would be sitting on these charts anyway, so it's all good. It's good to have company. So with that being said, we're going to wrap it up. Hey, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. We're going to be here bright and early, getting ready for the upcoming week. Cover the Ichimoku Cloud. Maybe that can help some of you out. But other than that, have a good night, everybody. Ryan, anything you want to add before we close? Forget to ask you. Good. Okay. Can't hear. Okay. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. Have a good night, everybody. See you on Saturday. Take care now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.